Welcome back to episode 131 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. I'm back in my little area. It is nice after doing a 9 game homestand to get a little bit of rest here before I begin a 10 game homestand, the longest one of the season, on Friday. But we have stuff that we want to discuss today. But before we get into all that, Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I really can't complain. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, I'm a teacher, so we've recently went on summer break, so I have my time off for the summer. I'm enjoying the hell out of it, and yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm can't complain, man. I mean, the Yankees lost 2 out of 3 against against Red Sox, so not really what I want to see. But overall, the Yankees they're doing pretty good, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. So overall, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Doing okay. Had an interesting weekend. I told Kyle about it off camera. Not gonna say it on here because I would like to not get in trouble. But uh, I mean, she's not gonna listen to it. But still, she's not gonna find it. But still, I would like not to get in trouble. But let's,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I had an interesting weekend, but I was able to spend time actually with family. I went to a graduation party over the weekend, and I was actually able to enjoy a little bit of me time at the end of the day yesterday. So that was nice. So
It's always nice.
so uh other than that, doing well. I don't like the fact that the Dodgers lost 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals, and they did absolutely nothing in the first 2 games. However, I did win money on Saturday, so shout out to the Cardinals pitcher who had more than 2.5 walks. Mookie Betts that needed 3 total bases. I got that in the ninth inning. Uh, and I forget what else I needed. I forget what else, but I turned a $5 profit on Prize Picks into 150 something dollars. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be a handicapper someday. No, I'm just kidding. But so shout out to the Dodgers and the one Cardinals pitcher on Saturday. They helped me win some money, so that was good. But yeah, I'm doing okay. Doing okay. Big series, Dodgers Padres for the first time tonight in San Diego. Of course, these two teams will be meeting for the first time since the NLDS last year, which of course I have fond memories of that. Maybe we'll probably I'll probably touch on it a little bit at the end here, but we'll see. But to answer your question, doing okay. Um, we have stuff that we want to discuss, and the things that we're going to be discussing today. Roman Anthony finally gets the call. That news broke about maybe 2.5, 3 hours ago. I don't know what took the Red Sox so long, but finally they made the right decision. The Phillies, they're kind of not doing okay. They're kind of not as hot as they were about a month ago. All Star voting, I mentioned to you last week. Now, I didn't think All Star voting was going to open last week, but I did tell you that it should be opening up any day now. And sure enough, that's
Yeah,
what happened. And then we're going to touch on our two teams, Dodgers, Yankees. I got to see a little bit of the Red Sox Yankee game. I think it was Saturday because my brother and I put money on it, so we were paying attention. Shout out Rafael Devers, by the way, giving us their fantasy score. Aaron Judge didn't do anything, so he didn't help us. So that sucked. But um, it's not the same. Red Sox Yankees.
mm,
It's not like it used to be.
no,
It's not what it used to be, and it's sad. But hopefully they'll get back to that soon. But um, speaking of the Red Sox, we'll just start right here. Roman Anthony finally gets the call up, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he's at Fenway Park today. If I'm not
he
mistaken,
is.
yeah.
He's in the game tonight, batting fifth.
Okay, so he is in the game today. Uh, about time. About
Yeah,
time. Like it makes no sense to me. I understand that these teams do it just because of the service time. They don't want to lose the service time, but who cares if Roman Anthony can go to free agency a year earlier? Like I thought the whole point of drafting these kids, developing these kids was for you to bring them up to the major league roster at some point. I thought that's what the point of drafting and developing players was. And this kid has been tearing it up in AAA. Hit a 500-foot home run over the weekend. Maybe that's what finally pushed the Red Sox over to send him to bring him up. But this should have happened weeks ago. Honestly, he should have been on the opening day roster. To be honest with you, if not, he should have been called up quickly after. But to me, it's about damn time. That's the thing I feel, and I'm sure Roman Anthony. Listen, he's a kid. He's not gonna say anything crazy. He's gonna not say anything that would get the PR in trouble. But I'm sure in the back of his mind, it's like it's about time. Like, what else did I have to do in AAA to get the call? And finally, he did, and hopefully, um, he can kind of give a little spark to this Red Sox team that yes, they took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees over the weekend, but they're still 3 games below 500, and they are well out of a postseason spot right now. After I thought that the Red Sox were going to be pretty good this season, and so far they've been probably one of the most disappointing teams uh, going into 2025. But it's about damn time, and I hope this kid performs. And now we are in the full effect of these young kids in Boston. Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, Marcelo Meyer. This is the new age of the Boston Red Sox, and I hope these kids can all figure it out and have a good career with the Red Sox. I know Kyle doesn't wish for that, but hopefully these kids perform, especially Roman Anthony, because he's been one of the best prospects, not just in the Red Sox but in baseball for a while. So it's good that he finally got the call up, and I hope he performs.
Yeah, I mean, can't say enough about the kid. I mean, he was MLB's top prospect on their list. Um, Boston finds themselves 8.5 games out of first place in the AL East, and it really does make you think: what would have happened if Roman Anthony would have been called up sooner? You know, you kind of touched on it. This kid has been absolutely tearing it up at the AAA level. Mashing homers. He has a high average. His OPS is through the roof. This kid is producing, and he earned his spot in Boston's big league club. So it's nice to see that he finally got the call, and he gets to prove himself a little bit. And yeah, the biggest takeaway from this is it's about damn time. And it does make you think, like, would Boston be in a better place if Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, and well, Christian Campbell was already on the team, but if these two guys would have been called up sooner. I mean, obviously, I know Alex Bregman, he went down with injury. Trevor Story's been iffy. But overall, it really does make you think because, yeah, are the Yankees the best team that we've seen out of them in the last few years? No. But 8.5 games is a lot to overcome, especially when you have Tampa Bay and Toronto in front of you. Tampa Bay always seems to find a way. They're in second place right now, and you have Toronto, who's kind of surprising a few people. Like, yeah, they're 35-30. They're not great by any means and blowing these teams out of the water, but they have some boppers in that lineup that's going to produce whether you like it or not, no matter how bad an overall Toronto or any team is. Um, so it does make you think, like, if they would have taken this a little bit more seriously when things started going downhill. I know Boston went on that stretch where they were losing games left and right. you know who would have thought, maybe if you would have put Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer in the same lineup a lot sooner, you don't know what could have happened. So I don't know if 8.5 games is too much to overcome. The American League is weak, so there is a chance that Boston can come out of this unscathed. But it's going to take some work. It's going to take a lot of work, and you just got to keep playing well. And yeah, I'm excited for this kid. Obviously, he is top prospect in all of baseball. I'm excited to see what he's about because whether I like it or not, I'm going to see him for quite a few years to come. So I want to kind of get familiar with Roman Anthony's game and what he's about. But obviously, these kids, no matter what team they're on, I do hope them the best. And Roman Anthony's no different. Marcelo Meyer, for that fact, too. So, and yeah, you touched on it. This Boston team's a lot different now. They're getting younger, and I kind of like it. They're going into that young blood type of mentality, and yeah, Christian Campbell, Marcelo Meyer. Roman Anthony, and then you have Sedane Rafaela, who's already on the team. He's proven himself time and time again. You got Jaron Duran. Yeah, I know he's not completely young anymore, but I'd still count him as one of the younger guys on the team. And then with the wave of veterans, Garrett Crochet in the pitching staff. Then you have Bregman when he comes back from injury. Trevor Story. Um, yeah, no, it's a really good it's a good overall team. I like what they have right now, and I just for Boston's sake, I hope it's not too much of a hole. 8.5 games to come back out of. Um, Wild card was they should have had this ready.
4 games.
They are yeah
4 games
four
out of the
games
last
out.
spot.
There we go.
Not
4 games
impossible.
out of the wild. No, it's not. And you know, if they keep playing well and this team clicks, maybe they'll find themselves in a wild card spot. I had Boston winning the division. I switched it on our last on our last days once Garrett Cole went down. Um, but yeah, no, for my sake, I hope they continue this trend and they stay where they're at. But for Roman Anthony, I hope him nothing but the best, and I do think he is going to be a huge contributor for this Boston team.
Yep. Again, makes no sense that he wasn't brought up earlier. That's like when the Spurs drafted Wembanyama a couple years ago, and they're like, we don't want to. We'll sit him in the G League for a year, just because we don't want to pay him a max contract before we absolutely have to. It just makes no sense. But
I don't get it, man.
yeah, I don't
I
get it.
don't.
Don't understand it. But hopefully now he can perform and kind of say, hey, like this, I could have done this for you 2 months ago or a month ago.
Absolutely.
But moving on to the Phillies, the Philadelphia Phillies. They were once one of, if not the best team in baseball. About 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Definitely record wise,
Yes,
they were.
record wise. Now they are on a free fall. Not in terms of falling out of the like contention or anything, but they are 1 for 9 in their last 10 games. Now, the
Yep.
thing that they have going for them is that they got off to such a hot start that this little stretch that they're on and they lost 5 games in a row, that they've had some luxury and some cushion because they got off to such a good start. But I don't want to say the division is slipping away from you, but if you're not careful and you don't get back on the horse here, it's gonna slip away from you because
This Mets team
this
is
Mets
four and a
team
half
is
games.
legit. This Mets team is legit, and I'll touch on them when we get to the Dodger part at the end here because I have something that I've been sitting on for a couple of days with them. This Mets team is legit, and they're 8-2 in their last 3 games. Now they beat the shit out of the Rockies, so take it for what it's worth. But again, that's who you're supposed to beat. So um,
Yep.
you're a lot closer to this than I am because you live in the state. I mean, granted, you're not following the Phillies every day, but your brother Mikey is. Is there panic? Is there concern with the Phillies? Because I mean, I can see both sides of the coin. I can see when you're maybe a little bit concerned. Like, all right, I
Hmm.
don't think we're ever have a stretch where we go 1-9 in 10 games, but
Yeah.
um, the Phillies on paper they're gonna be one of the best teams in baseball. Like they are, like they have one of the best rosters. But are you concerned that hey maybe the Mets are gonna run away with this? Because I still think this will be a dogfight for the division, and I
Hmm.
think the Mets will kind of hit a wall a little bit soon. I don't know when, but all teams are due for one. But
Yeah.
um, Phillies better be careful, and not to mention here comes the still a ways behind them, but here come the Nationals a little bit.
Hmm.
They've lost 2 in a row, but they're not exactly out of the question. They'll be contending for a wild card. It looks like, but uh,
Yeah.
should there be panic in Philadelphia? Because I kind of say no. I'd rather you have the bad streak now than in August and in September when it kind of matters a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it begs the question. We knew that we'd be answering this question when we talked about him, but you know, the Philly fan base, I think, is always gonna feel that there's panic, especially for the fact like if you just get swept on top of this losing streak. You got swept by the Pirates, man.
Yep.
And now,
Who?
listen, I don't want to take away from the Pirates, but again, this is a team Philly needs to beat. And for the fact that you're coming off of the stretch, you just get swept by them. There's got to be a little bit of panic in that fan base. Actually, a lot of it from what I've seen and heard and things like that. Now, me personally, I'm an outsider. I'm gonna have a more optimistic approach to this because obviously, I mean, if it's the Yankees, yeah, I'd be fucking worried. And you got to remember, this is Philly we're talking
Yep.
about. This fan base is one of the most passionate fan bases that there is. And also, too, I mean, the Phillies expect more out of themselves. That's just how it is. Um, but they just don't look good, man. That's where if I had to be worried at all, it's the play. Like it's not the fact that they're losing these real close games that they should have won, things like that. They shouldn't win any of these games. They're not playing well. Harper just went down with an injury, and then you have Alvarado, I believe he's out for the year, your best reliever. It's it's tough to be optimistic. So outsider looking in, I'm going to say no, but I'm riding the line because the Mets are running away with this division a little bit, 4.5 games up on the Phillies. And then you mentioned it with the Nationals, they're 11.5 games. So you still have some wiggle room, 7 game wiggle room between you and Washington. But I said this at the beginning of the year when we were doing the NL East preview. I said the Nationals are the team to look out for because this is a young team. They're not going to make any noise in the postseason. Don't get me wrong, but they are going to play spoiler to a lot of these teams. And if you're not careful, this Washington team can overtake you. And the Mets look good, man. You know, they're 42-24. I mean, they're kind of clicking on all cylinders, 8-2 in their last 10, and they're on a 3 game winning streak right now. Overall, they look good. They're getting contributions from their pitching staff, which is the one area that I said was the biggest worry. And here's another scary part. Juan Soto, he's getting better,
Yep.
but he's still not Juan Soto. They are winning these games without him. You know, Lindor, Nimmo, just last night, McNeil absolutely went off for 2 homers and a double. Um, yeah, I mean this team is they're clicking, and if I was Philly, I would get my shit together now, and because you don't want to fall too far out of that because we talked about it all year. The National League is a gauntlet. It's going to be a pain in the ass to get to get a wild card spot um, to win your division. It's going to be hard to sneak into the postseason this year in the National League. I wouldn't be shocked if we see teams with winning records by a long shot missing out on the postseason this year. So if I was Philly, you know, personally, I right now it doesn't make sense to be worried. But it also, on the same token, makes all the sense in the world to be worried. So I see where both sides come from, but as of now, I'm going to take the optimistic high road here, and I'm going to say that not yet, but get your shit together. That's the best way I can. Well, basically, best thing I can say.
Yep. Yep. Uh, let's go to All Star voting. Let's get to the fun
Oh
stuff.
man,
Let's get to the fun stuff here.
yes.
Um, so they came out with the All Star ballot. You were able to vote. I believe it was last Wednesday or something. So,
Hmm.
um, I don't know how you want to do this. You want to run down your ballot? I don't know if you. I
I
don't know if you have one in front of you, but
I do.
okay.
I do have my ballot in front of me, and yeah, I think we should because now before we get into this, I want to make a huge disclaimer here. Okay, I am going for players who I feel deserve it. Now, that means that I left out a few stars here,
Right.
and I know I'm going to get shit for it, but I'm looking at the players who deserve it, in my opinion. Guys who have been playing well and have been overlooked. So that is my disclaimer before we get into this.
Okay. Well, I'm still working on mine as we speak.
Okay.
So if you
Okay.
want to go with yours first, you can. 'Cause I have
Okay.
the
Do we
obvious
want
ones, I think.
Okay. So, I mean,
Okay.
I'll go through the American League first and then we'll see where you're at. If you're done with your American League side, then you can do yours, or we'll just take turns.
Okay.
So, first base for the American League, I have Jonathan Aranda from Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Second base, I'm giving love to a former Yankee here because I think he deserves it and he's playing so well this year. Gleyber Torres at second base for the American League. Third base, I have Jose Ramirez. That's kind of a shoe
Yep.
in every year. Shortstop. Now, this is where things can get a little tricky, and my disclaimer really plays here. Jacob Wilson from the Athletics
Okay.
is who I'm going with for shortstop. My outfielders, Byron Buxton and Aaron Judge, are kind of the two. Well, Judge for sure. Buxton, yeah, kind of a shoe in. Now, my third outfielder, I'm excited about this one because I think he's a huge contributor to the reason why the Detroit Tigers are doing so well this year, and that's Kerry
Yep.
Carpenter. I think he deserves it almost more than anybody on this list. Catcher, kind of another shoe in here, Cal Raleigh from Seattle, and my DH is Rafael Devers.
Okay. Yeah, that the so right off the bat, my DH in the American League, I've given it to Brent Rooker. I've given it to Brent Rooker.
Okay,
I like it. Now, maybe because I don't like the things I've heard from Devers the last couple weeks, but
yeah,
um, I think Brent Rooker, even if he's not a starter, I think he will get in because I think he
yeah,
will have the numbers and stuff. But um, yeah, he's my DH in the American League right now. Starting Kyle Rowling, yep, catcher. That's obviously a shoe in.
yeah.
Um, who did you have for your shortstop again? I'm sorry,
Shortstop, I had Jacob
Jacob
Wilson.
Wilson. Okay, yeah, just kind of looking around at that. So yeah, I don't really see any argument here with any of these.
Mhm.
So
I kind of figured maybe one or two on the American League side
yeah.
would be different from yours. Um, but I think the National League side is where I might ruffle some feathers. But we'll see.
Okay. Well, before you do that, let me give you my National League because I have all them. I have the National League ready here.
Okay, go for it.
I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here because I'm gonna be the biased one here. First base is Freddie Freeman.
Okay.
I know that that's gonna bother some people, but to me, I understand Pete Alonso has the better power numbers and stuff, but
Hmm.
the game's in Atlanta. The game's
Yeah.
in Atlanta. I think you're gonna have Dodger fans and Braves fans that are gonna vote Freddie in just so he can be a part of the Atlanta starting first base for the National League, and he'll get a big standing ovation. So there's my little bias there to that. My second baseman is Tommy. No, I'm just kidding. My second baseman is Ketel Marte. Obviously, that's a shoe in. That's a slam dunk right
Okay.
there. Third base, again, might ruffle some feathers here a little bit, but I was kind of looking around, and I don't want to give it to Machado. So I, I
Mhm.
I'm voting for Daniel Suarez from Arizona.
Okay.
I power numbers, everything. I think he's deserved it. Shortstop, Lindor. That's no fun. Yeah, Lindor. Uh, Catcher, again, I might piss some people off, but there's your bias. Will Smith. This is the year that Will Smith will finally start in the damn All Star game. I have been shouting for the rooftop for the last couple of years for this guy to start in the All Star game. And I think this is
Mhm.
finally the year. He's batting over to 320. The power numbers are not exactly there, but he's has over a 900 OPS. Like, that's your National League starting catcher right there in the National League. So I go with that. My three outfielders, Corbin Carroll, and I'm gonna go with two Cubs, Pete Crow Armstrong and King Tuck, Kyle Tucker. I think those are the deserving. And of course, now before, um, I don't think he'll start, but if he continues to play well, and I see him every night, Andy Pages from the Dodgers. He If he continues on this pace, he's going to be on the team. He's going to be on the
Hmm.
team. He's batting 288 right now with 12 home runs and 39 RBIs, and he has an OPS of 821. If he continues, he's going to be an all star this year. And I'm very excited for that. And of course, your DH. Come on now. Come on now. Shohei Ohtani, your reigning National League MVP. No other option. It's Shohei. It's Shohei's spot until somebody takes it from him as your DH for
Hmm.
the National League. So there's mine.
Yeah, I'm gonna start at DH just because it's a shoe in Shohei Ohtani. Now, first base, I also have Freddie Freeman here. I
It's either going to be Alonso or Freddie.
It will, and I like Alonso's power numbers, but I think Freeman just there's something about the fundamentals of the game for me,
345
and
average, 1,000
it
OPS.
screams it screams Freddie Freeman to me. So I'm going Freddie Freeman first base. Now second base is where it's a little bit different.
Hmm.
I took Brendan Donovan here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Uh, St. Louis has seen a pretty good play as of late, and Brendan Donovan's a big reason why. Um, I like him, and I think he deserves it. Third base, I have Manny Machado. Shortstop, Francisco Lindor. Now, my outfielders, they're basically kind of just about the same. I wanted to take Andy Pajes here. I did. But I want to see a little bit more. Now,
Yeah.
this all-star voting goes on for a while, so there is a chance that it could change. But as of now, my three outfielders are Jackson Merrill, Pete Crow
Hmm.
Armstrong, and Kyle Tucker. Those are my three outfielders. Now, catcher. It was tough.
I
It
know.
was tough.
I get it.
It was tough. I went Hunter Goodman here.
Yeah.
I went Hunter Goodman because Colorado doesn't get a lot of love, man, and everybody needs at least one. And I think he has played a damn good year out there in Colorado. So I took Hunter Goodman as my catcher.
Yeah. No, I can see it, but man, this is a new low. If Will Smith is not the starting catcher and the Rockies catcher, now again, that's probably horrible for me to say because he does have better power numbers than Will Smith, but um, they're both gonna get in. I just want Will Smith to.
Oh yeah,
I
for
just want
sure.
Will Smith to start. I just want him to
I get
start.
it.
I just want him to start. That would mean a lot to me. But um, who do you think is gonna have the most votes? Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani? I don't know how it was last year. I think it was Ohtani, or no, I think it was Harper actually. I think it was Bryce
Yeah.
Harper that had the most votes last year.
It's this is tough. This is such a tough thing to say because it's very clear that everybody in their respective fan bases will vote for them to get in.
Right.
They will. I kind of want to say Judge,
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that because I'm biased. I'm saying it because I think Shohei is that much of a shoe in. That there might be people who's like, well, everybody's going to vote for
I
Shohei,
want to be different.
that kind of thing. Want to be a little bit different. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if it goes either way, but it's very clear that both of these guys are going to be on the team, and kind of the unwritten captain of their respective leagues. That is kind of the the way that we're going. So both are going to get in, but I wouldn't be shocked with it going either way.
What about Trent Grisham? If
Oh
his
man, I
average was a
wanted
little better,
to. If the average was a little bit better, for those of you who don't know, Trent Grisham is having a hell of a year with the New York Yankees. He has been a top contributor to this team. I want him to get in so bad. And another one,
Bellinger.
actually, not to get it wasn't Bellinger that I was looking at. I'm going to tell you who I was looking at. Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah,
I was looking at Paul Goldschmidt. He, I, this is where it was tough for me because I didn't want to put too much bias in, and obvious it's just all-star voting, and I'm definitely thinking way too much into this. But Goldie, I definitely wanted to give a vote to. I mean, and that's another thing. If for those of you who don't know, Paul Goldschmidt's been the second best player in the New York Yankees this
Yeah.
year by far. He is batting, if I'm not mistaken, he's batting over 300 this year. The power numbers are not there, but yet again, this is a Goldschmidt that is, God, I think he's 38 or 39. Um, and the fact that we're getting this high of an average out of him, and I mean, he's batting leadoff for the Yankees. Him and Grisham are going back and forth on leadoff. That's kind of crazy. First time in Goldschmidt's career that he's been leading off. But not to get on the Yankees here or anything, but yeah, no, Goldschmidt was the one that I was very close to picking over Aranda.
Also, to shortstop, if it wasn't Jacob Wilson, I think
Hmm.
he'll make the team. And I'm biased because, again, if I'm not watching Dodger games, I'm watching Angel games. Zach Neto.
Yeah.
Zach Neto has
Yes,
been very, very good for the Angels.
he
Uh,
has been.
Almost batting 270, has an OPS of 800, um, 10 home runs, 25 ribbies, but his defense is so damn good.
It is.
Defense is really good. So that's another bias one. Just because I'm on the West Coast and I see Angel games, Zach Neto is really good for the Angels.
Yeah,
Really good.
definitely disturbing. Yes.
Um, so yeah, I think we're gonna put these in a graphic
Okay.
and then
That,
let the people decide and rip our heads off again. So
yeah, absolutely.
so so, but all right. Well, let's get to our teams here. Uh,
Hmm.
let's get to our teams. Doesn't matter if you want to start or I want to start. Doesn't matter. Seems like we both kind of had down weekends with our teams.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll go. I don't have much on the Yankees. I really don't. Again, it's another week where I can't complain about too much. They're in first place with a 39-25 record. They're 4.5 games right now up on Tampa Bay and Toronto. Those two teams are tied for second place. Exact same records, exact same winning percentages. The biggest thing for me, I'm not even really going to talk about the team much. Aaron Judge is doing his thing. That's pretty much all I have. What I am going to talk about is something you hinted at earlier. The Yankees and Red Sox need to get better.
Yep.
They do. That like to me to me as a Yankee fan, I'm always going to feel something different watching those games, no matter what. I could care less if both of these teams are fighting for fifth place in the AL East. Something's always going to be different. But the biggest thing to me is that this needs to get back to the rivalry. That's what I'm going to take away from this past weekend. The Yankees lost 2 out of 3, but these games really aren't. They weren't close, man. They got fucking pummeled by the Red Sox last night. I turned off the game, man. And that's the thing. You never want to turn off this series ever. That's kind of the whole thing of the Yankees and Red Sox. Um, do I still believe it's the greatest rivalry in sports? Yes, because I'm a Yankee fan. But it does not feel like it used to at all. I remember growing up, man. My dad was a big Yankees fan. It's not how it was when I was a kid. And even in recent years, man. Like even I'll go back to the wild card game that the Yankees lost to the Red Sox. I believe that was 21. Um, like it felt like a playoff atmosphere, but it still wasn't what it was, man. The last time that I truly felt it was Yankees Red Sox was back in 2019, the London series.
Yeah.
That was prime time Yankees Red Sox.
And it
Like
wasn't even
what
played
I
in
want,
America.
that's what I'm saying, man. It wasn't even at Fenway or Yankee. The I'm gonna tell you what this rivalry needs, and this might just be because I enjoy watching this shit. It needs another benches clearing brawl. It needs, Judge getting out
Well,
there.
that's
It
not
needs
happening.
Duran going. I know.
Maybe with
But
Giancarlo when he
no,
gets healthy, but not with Judge.
yeah. It, I want, I want like, back in the day, just Roger Clemens type of attitude, just going at each other, man. And it feels like We've gotten so far away from that. And it sucks. It really does because whenever obviously Major League Baseball hypes up this series. They always will. But it never matches the hype, man. Not anymore, and it sucks. It really does. Um, obviously you have Judge and Devers going back and forth doing their thing, but I want to see the role players start to get pissed off. I want to see, like, for example, back
Well,
believe it was 17 or 8.
well, you heard
Yeah,
it
Tyler
from the Red Sox pitcher yesterday
Austin.
that gave up a 900-foot home run to Judge. That
Yeah,
if the only contract available to him was with the Yankees, he'd retire. That's not good enough.
it it's not, man. It felt forced.
Yeah.
You- I don't know. Like, you say it on the night that you're starting. You and listen, no disrespect, but you're kind of a no name,
Right.
man.
Exactly.
Nobody really heard of you. Are you trying to make a name for yourself? Are you trying to play into it? Did somebody tell you to say it? Um, but no, I want to see the role players start to get into it. I think Jazz would be a good guy for the Yankees. He kind of bit back at the Red Sox rookie a little bit, but kind of play into the rivalry, man. Play into it. That's the biggest takeaway from the weekend and from the week, to be honest. Um, the Yankees have been basically taking care of business. They took 2 out of 3 against Cleveland. Boston wasn't the greatest, but I don't even care about the outcome. I care more about the energy and getting back to what that series means to Yankees and Red Sox fans. It's not just us. I want the Red Sox to get into it too, man. Both sides got to play into it, and I feel like it's been so far away from that. Like, you don't see the videos at Yankee Stadium anymore heckling Red
No.
Sox fans, or vice versa. Like, you got to get back into that and do it with respect, please.
Right.
That is a huge disclaimer here. Don't kick the shit out of somebody just for wearing a Red Sox jersey or wearing a Yankees jersey. Have fun, play into it, and get rowdy. Like, that's what this rivalry means, man. Um, but no, overall, that's kind of my takeaway. The Yankees are still first place in the AL East. Aaron Judge is still doing his thing. Um, I can't complain, man. I can't.
You know what can fix the rivalry? How about these two
What's that?
teams get in the postseason and meet each other again?
That
Not in
yeah,
a one-game
that's
wild card series. How about in a pennant ALCS seven-game series to go to the World Series?
I
That
that
would
would
fix a
definitely
lot of
spark.
things.
It would. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more there.
Flipping over to the Dodgers side, if you want to watch some teams that don't like each other, watch the Dodgers and Padres tonight or the next 3 games. This is the first time that these two teams are meeting since the NLDS. I'm excited for it. Dylan Cease is pitching for the Padres tonight, pitching for the Padres tonight, and he should be scared shitless because the last 2 times that he stepped foot on the mound against the Dodgers, he was the reason why they went home almost. But uh, there's a couple things that I want to touch on, and I'm really going to pay attention to. So this is the first time, of course, we're playing the Padres, and then this is the first time that we're playing the Giants beginning on Friday. Your next, I believe it's your next 9 games are against teams in your own division. Let me check that real quick. Yeah, you got 3 with the Pod. Yeah, actually 10. Excuse me. Yeah. Um, right? 3, 6. Yeah, 10. So you have a 3-game series in San Diego with the Padres. Day off Thursday, you come home, 3-game series against the Giants, and then you have 4 games against the Padres. Of course, if you look at the National League West standings as of today, these teams are separated by not that much. The Dodgers have a 1-game lead in the division over the Giants and the Padres right now. One of 2 things is going to happen. You have an opportunity here to get a little bit of separation here from these teams. Now, I thought the Padres were going to be good. Again, I didn't think they were just going to completely suck. Wasn't expecting this from the Giants. Really wasn't. This is,
Mm-mm.
again, this feels a lot like 2021. Not completely, because the Giants have actually gone out there and spent money on their team and, brought in Willie Adames and brought all these different pieces. And, so I'm not completely shocked, but I didn't think they were going to be this good this quickly. Um,
Mm-mm.
you have a golden opportunity to give yourself some leeway and some separation here in the NL West. Because remember, the Dodgers have a shit ton of injuries, particularly specifically on the starting pitching. Um, if you're not careful, and let's say you lose 2 out of 3 to San Diego, you lose 2 out of 3 to San Francisco, and you split with the Padres again out here in LA, you're gonna have to be chasing. You're gonna have to be chasing, and that's the difference between this season and last season. Last season, the Padres made it interesting. Of course, we went to the final week of the regular season for the Dodgers to clinch the NL West, but that whole time, Dodgers had a little bit of leeway. Dodgers had a little bit of leeway there. This year, as of today, June 9th, 2025, they don't have that leeway right now. They do not. They're only, like I said, one game separated from both of these teams. So if you're the Dodgers, and I hope they're feeling like this, you have a golden opportunity here to put some separation between you and the two teams that are chasing you. Because I understand their pitching staff is depleted right now, and they're going to send out Dustin May, Justin Brogletsky, and probably TBD on Wednesday. You got to win these games. You got to win these games. Like, it's June. I don't want to say it's a must win or a must get game, but you've got to have a winning record these next 10 games. You've got to go at least 7-3 in these next 10 games, at least, in my opinion. Because, like I said, if you're not careful, you're going to be chasing the second half of the season. And I don't like that. Because not only are
Yeah.
you going to be chasing two teams, but you're also trying to get healthy in the process, especially with your starting pitching. So hopefully the Dodgers can
This
continue to tread the waters here. But we're going to find out a lot about this team in these next 2 weeks.
this has to be the closest to a must-win stretch
Right.
in the regular season that you're going to get. You're going up against two division opponents that close in the standings. Yeah, you. This is the closest to must win as possible, especially, and you kind of mentioned it with the injuries to the staff.
And another thing, you know, the Dodgers split the series last week against the Mets in LA. Uh, they could have easily lost all 4 games. The 2 wins that they got against the Mets were in comeback fashion. They were down late in both of those games. They had a walk-off Tuesday night because of Freddie Freeman, and they were down by a run in the 8th inning, and they came back, scored 3, and they were able to close it. But they could have easily lost all 4 games against the Mets, and that would have been bad. But they were able to salvage and get a split still. And here's what I'll say about the Mets. I think, and I believe this, that the Mets are going to be the team that is going to get in the way of the Dodgers getting back to a World Series. The Mets are the number one team I'm afraid of right now. I am.
Wow.
I am afraid of them. I'm not. These other teams, can they scare me as these weeks go on? Yeah, sure. But after seeing the Mets 7 times in the last 2 weeks, they're the team that kind of scares me the most out of all the National League teams right now, because they have the
Yeah.
starting pitching, they have the offense to go with it now, and Soto is starting to figure it out, and their
Mhm.
bullpen is pretty good, not bad.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the main takeaway um, from that 4 game series, and just from the 7 games that we played against them as a whole. They're the team that scares me the most in the National League. I think they're the team that can stop the Dodgers from getting to a World Series. I really believe that. I really believe
It
that
makes
because
sense.
now, if Soto figures it out, Soto alone, with Alonso, which he's having a great season, with Lindor, they can match the Dodgers at
Yeah.
least at the top of the order. They can match up with Betts, Freeman, Otani, Teoscar, Edman. They can counter that with Lindor, Soto, and Alonso, and that scares me.
Hmm.
And their pitching has been one of the they've have one of the best starting pitching rotations stats wise in the sport. So they scare
Hmm.
me. But um, these next 2 weeks is going to tell me a lot. It's going to tell me a lot. It's going to tell they're going to it's I'm going to find out if the Dodgers are going to have a cushion going into July and in the second half of the season, or are they going to be chasing it and having to burn themselves out going down this stretch of the second half. And it all starts
Hmm.
today. So the Dodgers have answered the bell before. I think they'll answer it again because I think they understand that they have a unique opportunity to separate themselves a little bit from these two clubs. But we'll see. But we'll see. So I'm excited. I'm
Absolutely.
excited for Dodgers Padres tonight. I won't be excited if they
Oh yeah.
lose, but um, we'll see. It should be fun. It should be fun. But unless you have anything else, that's pretty much it.
I think that's gonna do it, man.
Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Next time you see me, we'll be at Dodger Stadium. Yeah, recapping the Giants series and getting ready for that 4 game series against the Padres. So, so many great giveaways coming up at Dodger Stadium. I can't wait. I can't wait. So, but I'll get into that when we get to next week. But um, that's gonna do it for episode 131. Yeah, 131.
There you
131. Of course, thank you guys as always for listening to us. And
go.
we'll see you in a week. Adios.